yeah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, but you're not supposed to have kids while you're studying, you know that, right? And I was like, what? Why are you blaming me for making the decision to have a baby? That doesn't have anything to do with my intellect. That has nothing to do with my dedication. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. So today I'll film a mukbang. This is actually my first mukbang. I love watching them, but yeah, I ordered myself a lahmacun. It's like a Turkish pizza slash, it's kind of like a kebab, and I love that kind of food. It's like soul food, it's so good. And yeah, I ordered it at or like local, you know, kebab place, and I DoorDashed it, and I got this soda with it. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not gonna say it because I honestly don't even know how to say it. And then I ordered fries, just plain fries, yeah, fries. And I ordered this lahmacun. And I'll then also tell you, ew, that hurt my teeth. Jesus, it hurts. I know, I'm very sensitive to like the cold and the hot. So, by the way, let's try this first because it's so good. Love it. And I also got my water with me, and then this extraordinary, delicious drink. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I should just set up my camera a little bit different because. So yeah, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice it out because that's how I eat it. It's just easier than when I just don't finish. You know, I could just like still eat the other half on the next day. So what I got in it was like lettuce, you know. Wait a second, I need to leave my dog out. So what is actually in this is meat, it's lettuce, it's like tomatoes and onions and, you know, like some sauce and all that kind of stuff, good stuff. I honestly don't even know what exactly is in there, but it's good. And I got chicken as meat, or as meat I got chicken. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'll just remove this wrap and set it aside, maybe not here. So, yeah, just done. I thought I also took it back from that. I'm not sure if this is like chicken, honestly. That's good. Anyways, this is like one of the best foods you could ever get in Germany, honestly, or even in like other countries. I don't know, but I love it. So, so today I want to talk to you about a thing that you know, occurred to me a couple of years ago. So today I want to talk about, you know, the experience I've had with a certain professor at my college. My dog's barking in the background, I'm sorry. So, the university I went to was actually community college. And I just want to say a little disclaimer, or actually a huge disclaimer. Ew. Why did I do that? So, is that the school I went to was awesome. Like, I loved it there. Everyone was insanely nice. I loved the lectures. Like, everything was awesome. So it's very important to me to just say that, you know, not the whole university was like that, or the community college was like that. I was like only one person that was like that disrespectful and, you know, did all these like bad things, and no one knew about it. And that's why you can't blame the school, and you can't blame anyone other than this person. So I just want to say that because I don't want anyone that actually knows where I went to school to be like, oh, she went to such a horrible school. Like, no, it was an awesome school, and I can only recommend it, and it was awesome. Like, I loved doing or going to lectures, and like everything was fun. So yes, so just hop right into the story. I actually wrote down some things that I don't forget any details. So I'm sorry I had to let my dog bag in because she was outside. So Yeah, I need to clean after this, definitely. So I wrote down all the things that he did that I could still remember. And I'm gonna part it because in the first things I'm gonna talk about, I have like a racist background and very like disrespectful behavior. And then at the end of the video, I'll go into what he actually said to me because I was young. I mean, I'm still young, but like I was young, I was pregnant, and then I had my baby, and I still attended college, and he had an opinion about it. I'm going to talk about this later. So I'm going to start with saying that we've had about like a varied, actually, had like 3 to 4 students from Africa. And yeah, they actually came over just to study here. So they came here to Germany to actually just study here, or to study here and, you know, have a future here, which is understandable because, you know, who doesn't want to live or like study in Germany? Because, you know, studying here is not as expensive in other countries, and the education system is pretty good, at least from my standpoint and what I've experienced. So yeah, sure, everyone understands, right? So, yes, where did I stop? So, yeah, they were coming, you know, to Germany to actually study. I don't know what's wrong about that, but he seemed to have anything against that. And actually, you could already notice whenever they entered the room that he didn't like them, and he made several comments about that. And I'm gonna make, you know, give you some examples. So the first thing I put on my list was, by the way, I have to mention that these people were the nicest people I've ever met, very kind, and I don't know how you could not like them just because of their skin color. I have to mention that, and it's so frustrating. I mean, we live in the age of we live in 2021. I don't know how you can be like this. Like, I don't understand it. I think it's awful. And I mean, that wasn't like the only racist thing he did. It wasn't towards like black people. It was basically towards almost any like freaking like nationality other than German. So the first thing I'm gonna mention is that one of the guys out of this group, or actually it was mostly one guy, he and another guy from another course who actually attended our class, they had a project, and like we all had projects, but like they wanted to like you know, present it. So they were in front of the entire like class, or you know, course, standing there, and as the one guy has connected his laptop to, you know, the beamer, called beamer whatsoever, so everyone could see his like desktop, and the picture he had as like a screen, how you call it, as like a background basically. It was him, you know, on one of his trips, you know, just a nice picture of him. Nothing wrong about it. I mean, nothing wrong with pictures anyways, but like he was standing there and he had like, you know, he had a dark skin color. Like he's dark, like his skin is dark, and his like, I mean, even my daughter, she has a very dark skin tone, and so her hands, I don't know why I mean, have to talk about this, but you know, your hands, when you have like a dark skin color, you're like, how do you call these? The inside of your hands basically are lighter, right? So he was standing there, let me tell you. So he was standing there like, you know, just a nice picture, and you could see the inside of his hands. And he had some like light jeans, like light washed jeans on. And the thing that the professor said when he saw this was just like, oh, the color of your hands, or the color of the inside of your hands are matching your like jeans. And everyone was like, what the heck did he just say? You know, like, would he say that to a white person? Probably not. I mean, what are you gonna say? Your face matches your jeans? Like, that's so inappropriate. And I was so shocked, like, and we were like, you can't say that, like, that's disrespectful and whatever, but you can't really, you know, I don't know, it was awful. Like, we just said, like, that's disrespectful, you can't say that, that's just not fine. And then I feel like he realized that we didn't like that and that it was wrong, but he didn't do anything about it. He didn't care, basically. So, yeah. So that was the first thing he did. So the second thing he said was, I was almost cold. So there was this one girl, or like there were actually two girls, but this one girl, she attended some other classes as well, so she wasn't in like every single of her like lectures. So the other girl was actually like with us all the time, and she was one of my friends, and as well as the other one. And I liked her a lot. I mean, I still like her. We just, you know, don't talk anymore because, you know, once you leave school, and that's one thing that I just don't like, once you leave school or like you're not still in touch with these people. I had this when I went, you know, when I like graduated from high school. I kind of only like stayed with like, or stayed in I only stayed in contact with two of my friends. And I thought that was like super sad. So yeah, that's what actually happened this time as well. I only have like one like friend that I still talk to. So she was like, whenever he like made several comments, so it wasn't always about like them, it was also like towards other like nationalities, or he just pronounced people's names. I mean, there was a guy, he had like an Arabic name, and he was asking him every single lecture, like, is this the pronunciation, is this pronunciation, like making him feel like he would stand out because of his name, like making him feel bad for having such a name. I mean, he was a very smart guy and he didn't even like care. But for me, it was like, why are you doing this? If he's telling you once, you could at least remember how to pronounce his name. I mean, you're a professor. Like, you should have at least some kind of memory, like, function. Or, like, your memory should function to at least a certain, you know, like, extent that you remember how you're, like, what the name of your, like, students are, right? I mean, we're, like, in a very small lecture. Or like in a very small class, so I don't get it, like, very disrespectful. So he then thought, like, one time we've had this one, we had to like write an essay, and it was like it wasn't in programming, you know, lecture, and I had an essay that we should write. And this wasn't like, this was like a normal reaction, but he said something to this one girl, and she was like, he was just really mean to her, and she was just like reacting to it in a certain way, because she was just like heated, like, you know, I mean, for sure, you're like, I don't know, you just don't understand why like someone would treat you that way, so she reacted. But she was like, you know, she was saying actually what she thought, which is not wrong, but maybe sometimes it's like on like a strategic level, not as smart, but she did it anyways, and I feel like you can't blame her. But that made him even like more disrespectful or more intimidating towards her, so that, you know, she would feel even more hate towards her, basically, if that makes sense. I don't know how to say it. So so we had this one day where we could like go into his office and then talk about the grade that we've got. And so me and my friend, we went in and we talked about like the grade and everything, and we were like, I don't know, asking questions and stuff like that. Nothing wrong about it. So then he, the other girl the girl from Africa. We talked to her, you know, we were friends with her. And we talked to her, and she was like, yeah, blah, blah, I know what he's gonna say whenever I go in there, but I'm gonna tell him this and that and like so on, because I mean, she was right, and she has the right to like say something about it, right? So we went in there, and shortly after us, it was her turn to actually go into his office and then, you know, whatever, talk to him. As we were talking about him, he was like, oh, who's next? Oh, it's this girl. Wait, I'm gonna call the, he wanted to call someone, like one of his like secretaries or like someone, I don't know. And tell them like, oh, you know, there's, he said something like a trouble person, like an aggressive person, like something like that. If he was in danger and he wanted to have someone with him, that was like, ooh, that was so bad. And when we heard that, we were like, what the heck? And we didn't tell her after that because we don't want her to like freak out and then make everything worse. Because, you know, she's such an honest person and she would say what she thinks, and we would just not tell her because we thought that would make everything worse, and not for him, but for her. And we just didn't want that because we knew who she was, how she was. So, you know, we didn't want to get her in trouble. If, you know, so that's what happened. And then he actually called someone to, you know, come into the office because, and he even said this on the phone, like we were in the room while he was calling the other person. We didn't know what kind of person he called, or who like he called, but he was like, yeah, someone's coming in here and I'm like scared if this like issue would like harm me or get physical. He said that like in like different words, but he said like basically he was scared that you would be physically abusive like towards him, and said like I don't know like what he thought she was or who she was, but he clearly didn't know her. So we went out of this office and we were like, what the heck, like that's just not, that's so unreal, you can't do that, like that's so bad. Like it was so bad, never experienced anything like this, because it was like clearly I don't know if it was because of her like, you know, how do you call it, of her demeanor or her like attitude, because that's who she is. Like you have to like, especially as a professor or teacher, you have to know how to handle like different people, right? Like everyone's different, and if someone's like more honest and maybe gets like upset sometimes, you need to know how to handle that, right? And just not put them or like make them look as if they were like a felon or whatever. But like that's what he did basically. So we went out of this room and we're like so shocked, and I think we even told later on, I think we told her, I just don't remember. But yeah, that was like one other like really bad situation. I mean, we couldn't say anyone because because no one else was in the room. It was just the professor and me and my friend. So even if we would have said something, he would have said like, no, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. I wanted her in the room to discuss or whatever. You know, he would find a way to like make his actions appear not too bad. Because that's what kind of a person he was. So moving on. I do have my notes right here, that's what I'm reading. Yeah, another thing. So we were we actually generated our own database, and then we had the SQL codes. I mean, this is for like nerds. Like, I want to explain it to you so you know what we did. So we did generate our own database, and we had the SQL, that's like basically language to like put something into a system or into a database or like get some information out basically. So that was SQL. So we had like different tasks and like different things that we should like, yeah, we had like, okay, put like this and that in this account, blah, 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 or like on this like chart or whatever. And that's what we did with these codes. So we did that, and me and my friend, oh, I can't talk. So she was the other girl that was from Africa, but that was also in other like lectures that wasn't always there. So she was with me and she was my partner in this group project. So as we were sitting there, we were supposed to, like, he was asking us questions and we should, like, basically say it in the SQL code, or how you would, like, how would you get this information in SQL, basically? Or, like, how would you get this information from the database using SQL? There we go. So that's what we did. And we had, like, different groups. So, and I really liked her. She was one of the sweetest and nicest girls ever. She actually has 2 kids. And she does everything her own. And she doesn't have a car, so she had to go there by public transportation. So that was hard for her because she had to pick her kids up at a certain time. So every time I went home, I would take her from our college to the train station, where she would meet up with her cousin who took care of her 2 kids while she was in college. So I took her there because she would take like more than an hour to get there, and it took me like 15 minutes. So I took her every single time, and I brought her there because I felt like I'm going this direction anyways, and I want to, like, you know, support her because first of all, she was super nice. Second of all, she had 2 kids that she took really good care of, and she was, you know, actually, like, she was like so, I'm missing the words today. She was so dedicated. So she was actually like studying, like she went to bed. I'm sorry. My camera stopped recording. So I don't know where it was, but yeah, the girl I was friends with, she was the nicest girl ever. She was always super kind. She was very quiet. She had 2 kids that she took care of mostly on her own because her husband, he was also in college, but he went to another college which was way more far away. So he wasn't like, he couldn't be there with her all the time. So she did it all on her own. And as I said, she came here to study from Africa, so she didn't only, like, she had only her cousin here. I mean, some friends, yeah, but like not really that much of like family. And she even said, like, you know what, like, you have your family, like I don't really have anyone. And I was like, yeah, and honestly, I don't know how you do it. And she told me that she would go to bed with her kids. No, she would put her kids down to bed. She would clean the entire apartment. She would then go to sleep and then wake up at like 2 a.m. to study until 5 a.m. when she wakes up her kids, or like 7 a.m. whenever she would wake up her kids. And I don't know, she was so dedicated and extremely smart, and one of the nicest people I've ever met. So she was sitting there with me in this group project. The professor asked us, like, you know, how does this SQL code, like, blah, blah, blah. So we were then in there, and I was sitting there with her. So as we were questioned, she received several calls from the daycare where both of her kids were at. And I was like, well, who's calling you the entire time? And she was like, yeah, the daycare. I was like, wow, then just like go outside and, like, you know, it must be something very like important when they call you like several times. She was like, yeah, but I can't. You know, we're in here and like that's very important. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna answer it for you. We've did this. Like we had a paper where we wrote down all these like different SQL codes. Was like, I want to answer it for you, and if he says anything, I want to tell him like where you are, and that's important. So she went outside after I convinced her to actually answer the phone because like her kids are in daycare and she was so scared. Like, so she then went outside and he just looked at her like, I was like, okay, whatever. So then after like 2 minutes or something, it was our turn. So I said the SQL code he wanted, and he was like, where's your partner? And I was like, she just went outside because she received several calls from the daycare where kids are at. It must be something very important and maybe an emergency. And he was like, yeah, but this is like, what did you call it? This is basically an exam. You can leave the room without permission. I was like, not permission, he didn't say that. You can't, he just said you can't leave the room. And I was like, well, and I got really like how you call it? I got frustrated at this moment. I just got very angry at this moment, and I said, like, you know what? Maybe there is an emergency, and if you have kids, that's the #1 priority. And you know, I'm reading the SQL codes, and there should not be anything that you should complain about right now. I got really, really, really like pissed in this very moment because I felt like, what kind of person is he that he puts himself and his freaking exam over someone and their kids? That's not only disrespectful, that's just, I don't know, as if he has no like empathy at all. So she got back in, everything was fine. That was only one like small issue, but I was glad that she answered the phone because, I mean, imagine like that would be something very important, and that's everything that matters. So she got back in, and he was just like making some weird comments. I was just like, I don't remember what exactly he said, but yeah. So that was the other thing. So moving on, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I don't know. So the other thing was, this food is actually super good, but I'm not that hungry actually. I know, I just had breakfast. Maybe that's why. And then one thing that actually bothered me a lot was one time we were talking about barcodes and how they work, how you generate them, and you know, all of that, and what the different things mean on a barcode. And you know, you have this like number in front of a barcode, and here it's like, you can like, so that you know what I'm talking about. What is the focus? So you have this number in front of the barcode, right? So he was just like going around, and he was like asking someone to basically show them the water bottle and like look at the barcode. So the barcode said 9 or something. Yeah, I think 9. Don't quote me on that, but it said basically the number for Poland. And Poland is a country in Europe, and it's next to Germany. And he would then like, oh, Poland. And he said so many bad things, but like the major, I need to leave her out. So, I'm kind of full right now. I don't know why, I just had breakfast, maybe that's why. But yeah, so he then was like, oh, you know, people from Poland, they like to steal. Did you steal the bottle, or did they steal your car? Or something like that. He just, like, very inappropriate things, and I was just like, and then after he, raged about, like, Polish people and, like, Poland and whatnot, he was like, is there anyone Polish in here, or from Poland in here? And my grandparents are from Silesia, or whatever, so it's Poland now. And I have a cousin in Poland, and I got really mad, so I was like, yeah, I'm from Poland. So, I mean, I kind of am, because that's what my genetics are. But, so he was like, yeah, yeah, he didn't even say, oh, I'm sorry, or like blush or anything. He just went up to his desk and was like, yeah, okay, well, I have to say though, that the older generation of the Polish people, they're very hardworking. And was like, what do you want to tell me with that? Like, only the old generation is like very hardworking, and me, because I have Polish blood, I'm not hardworking because I'm young, or I'm lazy. Do you want to say that? I'm like, I don't know. And I got really pissed because that was like the first time I felt very offended myself. I always felt offended what he said towards other people, but this time he actually offended me in front of the entire class. And after this like lecture, they were like, I don't know, they said something and were like, that's so disrespectful and whatever, but they kind of like made it in like a fun way, and I felt like, you know, that's disrespectful as well, but like, they didn't even mean it in a bad way. They just wanted to make fun of him saying that to me, and like kind of like making him sound fun, like stupid, but at the same time I felt like bad. But yeah, I mean, I felt good that I said that because I knew that he would just not give a damn, like if he would hurt someone. He just doesn't. And that's when I realized. So the last thing I'm gonna say is that we're actually programming in one of his lectures. I was sitting next to me because he was like, you know, sitting in each group and like looking what they're doing right now, if they have any questions or whatnot. So he was like sitting there and he was like, oh, you seem, or you look tired. And I was like, yeah, it's because I didn't have that much sleep. To my daughter, you know, she didn't sleep through, or something like that. I said something like that. I mean, as a mother, you know that like your kid doesn't always sleep through, and sometimes you have a bad night, but that's normal, and it's not even anything that bothers me. So I just look tired. So in the first place, he was telling me I'm tired. Like, why do you say that to a girl? Like, she might feel very bad about like you saying something about her appearance, because that goes down to her like self-esteem, you know. But yeah, he said that anyways because he was disrespectful. So I was like, yeah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, but you're not supposed to have kids while you're studying, you know that, right? And I was like, what? And my friend was sitting next to me and looking at me like, and he said, oh my god. He said, yeah, yeah, actually, you're supposed to go to college first, then graduate, find the love of your life either at college or after that, right? Then get married or get engaged, get married. Then you would, you know, buy a house, and then you would get pregnant and then have kids, and then you'll get divorced. That's the way it goes. And I was like, why are you telling me, you know, already been pregnant and still being completely dedicated to where I'm at school? You know, I was so dedicated, and I graduated from college. And I graduated with good grades, and I have a good job now. Why are you blaming me for making the decision to have a baby that doesn't have anything to do with my intellect? That has nothing to do with my dedication. I'm a good human. Why are you judging? You're not supposed to judge someone that way. And he judged me that way. And I felt so sad because I realized what kind of person this person was. And I mean, I have already like realized how he was towards other people, but I was like, there has to be some kind of empathy. But there unfortunately was not. So that was it for all the like examples, what happened. And I hope that you found this very informative, and I hope that you don't judge like everyone, because that was only one single person. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment down below, and like this video. And also don't forget to turn the bell notification on, or the notification bell on, so you'll never ever miss one of my videos. And I'll see you next time in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.